Greetings folks, and I hope you're all fit and well out there in collecting land, and welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. So a big thank you to everyone who voted in the recent poll, and the winner by a nose is Sideshow's 2.0 version of Michael Keaton, aka Beetlejuice, from Tim Burton's 1988 movie of the same name. For those of you who voted for the present Toys Edward Scissorhands, worry not, he will be coming up for review very soon indeed. So, usual format folks, box, accessories, figure, then showcase at the end, and the usual shout outs to everyone who supported the channel, and be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. And a big thank you to William Wang as well over at One Man's Collectibles for sourcing me this figure. There will be a link to his website in the description below as always. So, Sideshow have updated their original release to sort of coincide with the release of the sequel, Beetlejuice. And we're also going to be treated to a Hot Toys take on the Ghost with the Most, and it'll be really interesting to get these two side by side when it comes in for review later this year. But without further ado, enough of my afterlife ramblings and onto this box. And I've got to say, I really do like this box. It's the usual sort of size of a Sideshow box, same quality of card, slipcover design. But what they've done here is they've gone for that old videotape look, and I think it looks brilliant. I really do like this. On the front here you've got a shot from the poster from the movie itself, which is really well done. You've got Gina Davis on one side, Alec Baldwin on the other, and Mr. Juice himself in the middle there. You've even down to the comedy sticker here that's been printed on and looks like it's peeling off, and the whole thing, yeah, just designed to look like that old videotape. Very well done indeed. Even down to the edging here that has been weathered, and there's weathering all over it to give it that used video slipcover design look. On the sides it says Beetlejuice, Sideshow Presents, and you've got a picture of the figure itself. Same on this side as well. You've got Warner Brothers logo, obviously officially licensed product. On the top it says Sideshow Beetlejuice again, and you've got some more weathering going on there. What I really do like as well at the bottom here as well, you've got the weathering as well, but you've also got this cutout here to give it that videotape look. Just really well done here from Sideshow. Thumbs up for this one. On the back, they've laid out the back in keeping with that video case cover again, with a description of the figure here and the character, but designed and laid out as if it's a synopsis of the film, which is what you would see on the back of a video, and the usual credits and warnings down the bottom there as well. Don't piss this figure off, or you might not enjoy the black plate quite as much as you think you should. As I say, slipcover design, so we'll take it off, and it comes out the same way a videotape would. When you remove that slipcover, what you are greeted with is the figure itself, with this window in the front here, and you've got this black and white design around the sides, which is sort of designed to echo the suit. Normally this would be a band on a Sideshow figure, but here it's actually part of the packaging itself, and it says "Here lies Beetlejuice." 6 scale at the bottom there, and just that black and white stripe pattern continued all the way around with the odd spider here and there. So yeah, that's the box. So brand new figure, this one, as of yet unopened, so still sealed. So we will do as we always do. We will crack the seals on this box, dive down onto the table and have a look at everything that you get with your Beetlejuice figure. Okay folks, so accessories out, and the word sparse springs to mind. Yeah, come on Sideshow, at this price point we expect a little bit more with the Hot Toys figure coming out before the end of the year, and I would imagine that is coming with swap out head sculpts and a diorama base and all manner of good stuff. At this price point probably would expect a little bit more than what we're looking at here, but it is what it is. What you do get a lot of is hands, and you know me and my hand thing, so we'll start with the hands. You get 11 hands in total. There's an open pair on the figure already. We'll take a look at that when we bring the figure out, but we'll grab a few at random here. It's an odd number. The 11th hand is actually this one that holds the nail file, but we'll grab a couple and take a look at the quality of the sculpt and the paint application here. Now, Probably worth mentioning at this point as well, I don't own the original of this figure, and as far as I'm aware, the only real differences here are in the paint applications on the hands and on the head sculpt. It's a completely new head sculpt, but yeah, the hands themselves. So let's have a look at the sculpt. Well, the sculpt looks very good to me. There's sort of vein work in the back of the hands there. There's that bone structure that is visible as well. There's the knuckle areas are creased. Paint applications look very good. There's almost a cracked skin effect if the camera's catching this on the inside of the palm, which is nice to see. It's got a mixture of that sort of deathly pallor, that light grey, reddening towards the ends of the fingers there. The fingernails, if I can get these into shot, get these as close as I can and get this camera to focus, the fingernails there are done really, really well. They're painted, they're long, they're messy, and they're painted quite well with these sort of brown washes to give them that suitably unpleasant look. You're also getting green on here as well, and that's screen accurate as well, because there were shades of green in the makeup that Michael Keaton wore. So yeah, you've got sculpted in rings, that's present on all the left hands, and you've got sort of a wide variety of hands, from gesturing hands, open palm hands, there's a pointing finger hand, and the same level of sculpt and paint application on all of them. And what's great to see as well with these hands is that, as always with Sideshow, each one comes with its own individual wrist peg, so hats off to Sideshow for that. So no mucking around with wrist pegs here if one or two of them break. So yeah, pretty good hands overall. I'm liking the sculpted in ring, I'm liking the paint applications, and a good overall sculpt. So yeah, that's the 11 hands. Let's pop them out of the way, not that we need the space. The only other real accessory is the handbook for the recently deceased. Now, all one piece of sculpted plastic this. Nicely done. Screen accuracy is definitely there with that picture on the front cover and that brown paint application to give it that weathered look. Doesn't open, but it looks suitably screen accurate and suitably on point there. Very nicely done. So yeah, that's the 6 scale handbook for the recently deceased. Nice addition there. And finally, the stand that comes with this figure. I'm going to take a deep breath here. Regulars to the channel will know my feelings on Sideshow stands. I am not going to go on a rant. I've done that too often. It's bad for my blood pressure. Suffice it to say, I am not the biggest fan of these black hexagonal bases. All one piece of hollow plastic here, well, 2 pieces actually, but that piece on the bottom. No feet on here of which to speak, so be careful of slippage in the display, as always. And yeah, it's just that black hexagon. I suppose in its favour, it's got Beetlejuice across the front here in this high gloss finish. It's a slight improvement on Sideshow in as much as they've not put it on the bottom of the base, which is a completely pointless exercise and really, really grinds my gears. But they managed to get that Beetlejuice logo on the top. But still, it's 2025. Come on, Sideshow. We'd expect something a little bit better than this. As I mentioned before there, with the Hot Toys version coming out, I can't wait to see the standard diorama base maybe that they'll have to offer with that. This really doesn't cut it for me in 2025, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I know there are people out there who like these things, but yeah, it doesn't work for me. Not the world's biggest fan, and I will be using a custom diorama base of some description for the figure. So yeah, that's the base. Comes with a standard issue crotch grabber, as we all know and love from Sideshow. Simply slots into the back there, and that is your stand. So that's everything that you get, the meager offerings of accessories that you get with this particular figure. So what we'll do next is we will bring out the ghost with the most, get him onto the stand, get him onto the turntable, and find out what he's all about. Okay folks, so here he is. It's the afterlife anti-hero himself, Beetlejuice, aka Michael Keaton, straight out of the box, straight onto the stand, straight onto the turntable. Couldn't resist a little bit of a pose there. Just, it's one of those figures, what can I say? First impressions, very, very good, I have to say. Better than I was hoping for, to be honest. The outfit looks on point, the proportions look absolutely nailed on, the head sculpt looks excellent, but we'll get to that, the rooted hair. Yeah, just overall, the first impression is a very, very positive one, but we will do as we always do. We'll stop him from spinning, we'll get him off that stand and have a close-up look. Now, Another thing actually worth mentioning at this point, straight out of the box, and collectors will know what I'm talking about here, that plastic smell, that fresh out of the factory smell that you're greeted with when you get a new figure, the smell that I think is possibly the finest smell in the entire world, wasn't present with this figure. What I did get was a nose full of what smelled like very, very strong paint fumes. Now, I'm not sure, but I let my nose do a little bit of a wander around this figure, and I got the impression it was coming from the suit. Now, whether that's a factory process, but my mind was wandering to, are these black stripes painted on? Is it paint I can smell? I don't know, because I think I heard somewhere that some people have been having issues with paint rubbing underneath the arms on the jacket of this figure. Now, I've had a quick look and I'm not seeing anything like that, but it might go some way to actually explaining that if the paint wasn't fully dry and set. But who knows? It could just be me having nasal hallucinations. But enough of my ramblings. Let's get him off the stand and take a close-up look. We'll start with the feet and work our way up. The boots. Now these boots look screen accurate to me. They're all one piece of sculpted plastic. They look very much like the original boots. As I said before, I don't own the original of this figure. It's changing money for silly hands on the aftermarket, but having seen a lot of photos, a lot of videos and so on, these look very, very similar to the original boots. Maybe they've just reused them, but the sculpt looks on point to me. The screen accuracy looks there. There's no split cut boot design or anything like that. There's no finessing with these boots. They are solid. There is some lateral movement there, not much forward and backward movement. In fact, there's none whatsoever. So posing might be an issue here, but it is what it is. The paint applications are really nice. You've got sculpted in laces there. There's weathering on there. There's soles on there's tread on the soles of the boots themselves, and the soles have been weathered too. So if you're wanting to have him legs up in the air, it will still look realistic underneath the boots themselves. And yeah, just overall nicely done. Moving up, now onto this suit. This suit itself looks really, really nicely proportioned and nicely cut. Cotton material, quite a thick cotton material, which I think is the right choice actually for this figure. The tailoring on the pants looks correct to me. The fall of them looks right. And very, very simple. It's just a black and white stripe, and that's it really. But the stitch work in the seams looks very, very good. There are no threads hanging out here. There are no loose bits. Overall, the fit looks pretty good. Let's check the articulation of these knees while we're here. Now, straight away, yeah, you're quite limited in that knee. It's only going to go up to about, 20 degrees there. It's not going to go any further than that. It's a single joint at the knee there. And straight away, what I am noticing, and this is literally the first time I touch this figure, I'm noticing the sheen on this black is coming off while I'm touching it. So I am assuming that smell was paint. As you can see, I don't know if the camera's catching this, where I just bent that leg and where I've touched it, you can see that the paint is actually coming off. It's not on my fingers, or whether that's as marks from my fingers, but yeah, that's not a good sign. I suspect this pristine paintwork is perhaps not of the best standards. I'll see if it does the same thing on this leg when I touch this leg. Yes, it does. Yeah, and now we have an issue here straight away. I think I might possibly have to switch to gloves, cut to gloves. Okay folks, so gloves on, and I've got to say I'm not entirely comfortable with this suit and the way it's being coloured, but we'll get him back off the stand again, and I'm going to be super careful when we go over articulation with this figure. I don't think the camera is catching this, but in this, as I mentioned before, in this knee joint here, where my fingers have actually made contact with this these black stripes, it's literally coming away. The paint is fading visibly every time I touch it, so I have to be super careful with testing the articulation and not over push it, because I don't want to grip this thing too tightly. But yeah, the pants themselves, I mean, the coloration is really, really nice and screen accurate, on point. The fit is on point as well. It's slightly high-waisted. What you've got here underneath this body, and it feels like a standard body that Sideshow have used here, is you've got a fat suit underneath. And unfortunately, like a lot of fat suits, when you've got a single layer shirt underneath it, what you get is this line going across where the fat suit section is, and as you can see there, there's that line across his shirt, and it's sort of just below the chest area. But yeah, that's all padded and fat suit, and it comes down really just almost to the crotch area itself. But the pants themselves, they are stitched very nicely around the top there with that white stitching. They're Velcro fastened, and overall, yeah, they look very, very good. It's a cotton material, and the jacket is made of the same cotton material. And if you look on the inside there, it's got that really, really nice man-made patterned fabric on the inside, that lining which is sewn in really well, which looks very impressive indeed. Pockets on here I don't believe function, but I can't tell with gloves on. They could very well function, because I can't really get my finger in there, and I don't want to take these gloves off for fear of damaging the paint. And I think it is paint. I'm getting to think more and more these stripes have actually been painted on. And that was what my nose was picking up when I first opened the box. But yeah, the jacket itself is a really, really nice fit, absolutely perfectly falling and in proportion, should I say, to the character. And yeah, really nicely stitched up the sides here and down the sleeves. Underneath that shirt, apart from that ugly line, I'm really not sure what figure manufacturers can do about that. Whether you grade, I mean, they've graded the fat suit because you can feel it's slightly thinner here, but maybe it needs more grading or something on the chest section to prevent that sort of that ugly ridge, because it becomes really obvious that what you're looking at is padding underneath here. And it throws it off a little bit for me. The tie itself, really nicely done. It's that sort of and tucked in. It's that stiff material, that man-made fabric with a pattern in there, with those those black studs running up the front. Those shiny black studs, really nice. Doesn't look like it's going to need much futzing, as it's affixed in place around the neck. The shirt itself, and I think this has actually been altered from the original. I'm going to bring out a picture of the original that Sideshow released, just as a comparison when we get to the head sculpt. I'm not going to push these arms too much. As I said before, now you've got it looks like there's a decent range of motion in there. It's sort of standard for Sideshow. They're not the best bodies in the world, I find, with Sideshow, but they're pretty good. You get I'll have a go here. Yeah, you got a butterfly joint at the shoulder there, and about a 45-degree bend in the arm. The shirt itself is made out of cotton, nice stitch work in the collar area there, and it has been weathered. It's been weathered around the cuff area here, the camera's catching that, and it's been weathered around the collar, obviously. So yeah, overall, I think it looks very, very impressive, this figure. But as I say, that aroma and that black paint work that is giving way already is, and I'm assuming it's paint, so I'm sure someone will correct me in the comment section if I'm not, but it looks like this material has been dyed, that stripe's been dyed into the actual material itself. Yeah, is worrying. Let's get onto the head sculpt now. I'm going to drop the camera back a little bit so we can get this guy in the gap and take a look at the head sculpt now. I've got to say, I think this is a very, very good head sculpt. I do. I think it's absolutely Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, 100%. I think the paint applications are great. I think the sculpting is very good. You've got, if I get my finger out the way here, you've got these sort of green, gnarly sections on the neck area there that run down underneath the shirt, which is nice to see. And that stretches up all the way around the top of the head sculpt, into the hairline itself, and down the other side, that sort of green decomposing look. The sculpt, absolutely on point. I like the expression that they've gone for here, and there are so many expressions to pick from for this character. It really, I wouldn't want to make that decision, but I like this. It's sort of in between. It's not too manic, but it's not too passive. I think they've caught it just right, Sideshow here. The paint applications on the face are really good with that deathly sort of grey palette, but with hints of sort of reds and purples in there. The mouth exceptionally well sculpted, those teeth are suitably grisly, the paint applications on there are very good. The makeup around the eyes exceptionally good with that purple coloration. The eyes themselves really nice and glassy and on point, and I think they've done a cracking job here, and that green hue actually flows up into the top of the head. There is I'll say a visible seam line, that's the wrong expression, but where the rooted hair, and I'm not sure whether this is rooted or actually stuck on, I suspect this may be stuck on as opposed to rooted, yeah, they've attempted to continue that green paint application through into this, what I am assuming is, I'm not sure what material they've used for the hair here, but and it sort of leaves a bit of a line. It looks a bit sort of abrupt, but I can live with that. I think overall what we've got here is a very good head sculpt. Just the one head sculpt with this figure. It's not a fixed neck, so it moves independently, and yeah, you've got a decent range of motion in there. Not the best. I'm not going to push it too hard here because that means gripping it tightly at the body, but yeah, you've got a good range of motion going on. Forwards and backwards is a bit limited, but the side to side is very good. The hair itself, the style is absolutely on point. I think they've graded the hair really well because it's slightly sort of lighter at the back here where it comes into the nape of the neck. But on the crown of the head and at the side, you've got that green tinge to it. Not overly green, but it's there. Once again, screen accurate, and you can futz around with this hair. I will be doing some futzing post this review just to get it exactly the way that I want it. So yeah, overall, I think that they've nailed it on with the head sculpt. Absolutely. What I'm going to do actually, let's just pop him back on the stand at this point. I'm hoping I can do this with gloves on. Is what I want to do is bring in, and I'm going to have to. Oh no, it might work. Yeah. I didn't think it would work with gloves on, but it has done. I'm going to bring him back up close so you can take a look. What I've got here is a photograph of the original. Now, as I mentioned, this is changing hands for silly money on the aftermarket, but just so we can get a comparison. Now, straight away, I can see that they've retailored that shirt because that's got rounder collars to it, and there's more weathering on this. There's a button on the top of the pants there, which is not here, so possibly it's a retailored suit as well. Tie looks pretty similar. I think the biggest thing here, though, is the upgraded head sculpt, and it literally is a country mile ahead of the original. That original, and I did consider at one point getting the original, but seeing that head sculpt really put me off. I mean, it's sort of it's less Beetlejuice and more Mr. Potato Head does Beetlejuice. It looks like he's got some kind of weird bloaty head syndrome going on there. The proportions are all wrong. The eyes are all wrong. The size of the head wrong. The eye makeup wrong. And the less said about that sculpted hair, the better. That just is not right. Even if you are going to go down the sculpted head with that hair, just doesn't look right. The hairline is wrong. The strands are wrong. The style is wrong. So yeah, it's night and day comparatively speaking. So yeah, vast improvement on the head sculpt. Not that many changes to the outfit, but on the whole, I think their head sculpt, yeah, they've done a fantastic job there. So let's get him back on the stand here, get him turning again, and going for final thoughts on this guy. Bit of a mixed bag, this one, I have to say. Straight away out of the box, I thought it was fantastic, and I still do. I think Sideshow have done a cracking job here. The head sculpt is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. I think it's wonderful. My biggest concerns are that line on the fat suit there. I can futz that so it's not, you know, that visible within the display, but I think, you know, it's something that we shouldn't be having to do. My biggest concern is the paint that they've used on this suit, if it is paint, and just the way this suit's going to hold up. Now, a bit of weathering on it and a bit of scuffing and dirtying up is not an issue with a Beetlejuice figure, as far as I'm concerned. But I wouldn't want to see this paint deteriorating, maybe bleeding into the rest of the suit and causing any kind of damage to it. So, yeah, well, might have to let it sit for a while and see if this. It might not have been dry properly. It could very well have been sat sealed in the box and not had a chance to dry properly. I don't know, but time will tell on that one. But they're the downsides. Obviously, that ridiculous stand, but I'm not going to mark it down for that because we're talking about the figure here, not the stand. So yeah, the plus sides, the hands are sculpted really, really well. Paint application is great. Head sculpt's brilliant. Proportions are right. But there are problems here. So how am I going to score? I'm going to give this, it's a tough one this, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I've got to take into consideration what is in front of me and score it as I see it. There is some issues with that suit and yeah, the stand and that fat suit are not entirely suitable. Could have been better done, but yeah, a solid 8 here. And most of that is carried by that brilliant 2.0 version head sculpt that Sideshow have given us. And also as well, it's going to be an 8 because, and I don't normally do this, but I think at the price point, I think Sideshow could give us more accessories, better base. I think sometimes Sideshow's asking prices are a little bit high for what they deliver, but that's just my opinion. So there you have it, folks. That is Beetlejuice, the 2.0 version from Sideshow Collectibles, from the original Beetlejuice movie. What are your thoughts on this piece? Have you got it on pre-order? Has it already arrived? What are your thoughts on the original Sideshow piece? What are your thoughts on Sideshow in general? What are your thoughts on the Beetlejuice movie? Anything at all, drop a comment in the comment section below. Nothing is off menu. What's coming up on the channel? Well, in the not too distant future, we have obviously Edward Scissorhands from Present Toys, but we've got a raft of other new figures coming in from other companies as well, from Hot Toys, from Pure Art, from In Art, Caustic Plastic, Present Toys, Susu Toys, Mars Toys, the list goes on. So, as I mentioned at the top there, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the 1/6 scale goodness that we've got coming up. And I suppose all it remains for me to say, from Beetlejuice, the ghost with the most, and myself, take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.